afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about Quantum Leap. It's the penultimate episode today. It's called Friendly Skies, episode 17 of season 1. I'm here with Gary. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right.
And I have to say, once again, another fantastic episode. This was much more of what we would call in the industry a bottle episode because it was predominantly, apart from the present day scenes, it was entirely on the aeroplane, which I don't mind because sometimes these sort of dramas in the skies can be quite interesting in its own right. And this was no different. Ben had to solve a mystery, and that mystery was to find out what crashes his plane. I mean, it's kind of a simple premises, really. He has to stop the plane from crashing and hundreds of people from dying. Simple as that. And he plays an air stewardess, and there's various suspects on the plane, as well as the present day scenario of the Quantum Leap people trying to find out what's happened to Ziggy Martinez, having to work without Ziggy, all of that stuff. Before we start breaking down this episode, Gary, what did you think of it? And Gary's gone, unfortunately. His internet has cut out on us. He is up in Scotland. I may add, he's not Scottish himself. He's an Englishman like me. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's not. He's not. You know, he's having some technical issues, but hopefully he will be back. No, I can't hear you now, Gary. Can't hear you at all. Your internet is really letting you down, mate. And there we go. I think he might be rebooting. So I'll give you my personal opinions on this particular episode. I thought once again this was a great episode of Quantum Leap. This is what we like to see Ben Song doing, solving mysteries and resolving issues. And this episode was no different, but it was in the skies, which gives its own sort of originality, so to speak. He's also playing a hot air stewardess as well. As many people know, air stewardesses can be quite attractive people. There was a time in history when being an air stewardess was a glamorous job, so to speak. And Gary is back. So him playing like a piece of ass, um, him playing a piece of ass who needs to be taken seriously in the era of the 70s was always going to be a difficult time for Ben Song. Gary, what did you think of this episode?
I really liked it. I thought it did a lot to call back to what happened in the previous episode with Martinez. It did just know what had happened, that he actually played an aspect about trust, how you can trust, like how brave does he want to be. I thought it was really good.
Gary, mate, your internet is so bad. It is so bad, dude. You're sounding like a robot. If you're on a laptop, if you're able to move it closer to your router.
I'm a PC, mate. I'm on a PC, mate.
Oh, you're on a PC. Okay, okay. Well, go and try again.
I was just saying that it was good to see them for the episode last season, last week. The one with Martinez, that it caused trust issues. I thought it was a really good episode based upon that.
Yeah. And unfortunately, no Martinez today with this particular episode. Not like we necessarily needed him, but with this being the penultimate episode, um, and it was like a traditional episode of Quantum League, regardless. It was. I was wondering what was happening with him, but I guess we might get that resolved next week with the cliffhanger we got at the end. But in this particular episode, let me just break it down to you all. But I do have my notes right here. Okay, so it's the year 1971, August the 5th to be more precise. Ben's in the body of an attractive air stewardess on one of the early 747 Boeings. And in the present day timeline as well, Magic wants Ziggy to be shut down. Now, this is to the dismay of Ian, who doesn't want Ziggy to be shut down because he requires Ziggy for everything. But nevertheless, Ziggy needs to be shut down until they can figure out what the hell's going on. So Addison informed Ben that of the timeline that Ben is in, and the plane that they're on will crash tonight They're going from London to New York, and Ben's mission is to stop the plane from crashing. So Ben goes to the cockpit with some snacks to find some information and clues, and he experiences obviously some male chauvinism because this is 1971, and men at this particular period are able to talk to women like they're pieces of shit, and thinking that anyone's attractive is fair game. But the captain, who's quite a chauvinist, kind of dismisses Ben's concerns regarding what the plane is capable of doing. And in the meantime, as well, we also get information from the present day regarding all the people who are prime suspects, like the captain, like Molly, who's one of the other air stewardesses. They all have like interesting backgrounds, but they all end up being red herrings, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
We also get to know some other people on the plane, other passengers. Like, for instance, we meet a very eccentric young man called Corey. He's a bit of an plane enthusiast. He's a rich nerd, and he's been escorted by an ex-cop called Leslie, who we find out earlier on was looking for a lighter, because back then you were able to smoke on planes. The pilot and the flight engineer end up dying. They're poisoned. And so the plane is now taken over by the co-pilot. The co-pilot immediately thinks that Ben was the one who poisoned them, but Ben reassures the co-pilot that it wasn't him. And that's when Ben starts to wonder who it could be, because Ben did get those snacks from Holly, the other air stewardess, and I immediately assume it was Holly. I'm not sure about you. Did you assume it was Holly?
I did, but I thought it was too obvious to be her. So.
Yeah, it was too obvious as well. But I mean, anyway, back in the present day, Ian is pissed with Ziggy being offline, and considering that Ian kind of created the new current day Ziggy, Ian could not fathom that something he built had gone rogue. And you can probably see the sort of like foundations being created now for why Ian in the future did a leap. Because it probably stems from this, from Ziggy. So Corey overhears, the nerd that is, overhears Ben about the plane being hijacked. They see that there's a sort of like an emergency box thing that has been opened. It only opened if you're going to be leaving the plane, and so they check the contents of that emergency box, and there's lots of money in there. And we also see a passport of the co-pilot, which kind of incriminates him. And then Corey, being escorted by her ex-policewoman colleague, tells that person what's going on, that the plane's being hijacked. And then we find out that the ex-policewoman Leslie is in on it as well. And there's also 2 other mercenaries. So all in all, we have 4 terrorists on the plane. And I think it's something to do with they're basically ransoming off Corey. He's like the rich nerd kid, so that's why they're taking hold of the plane. The plane was never supposed to crash, but certain circumstances and incidences happened on the plane which causes the crash. So Ben initially takes out one of the terrorists with an insulin injection, and then the passengers take out the second merc, but he ends up shooting a couple of shots in the plane ceiling, which has a consequence a bit later on in the episode. So with those 2 mercenaries out of the equation, the final 2 are Leslie and the co-pilot, who are in the cockpit. And Addison then teaches Ben how to make a smoke bomb from some of the items on the aeroplane. And they put the smoke bomb through the ventilation, and it just knocks out our pilot and Leslie. So they're out of the equation. But the gunshots that was done by the earlier mercenary, the earlier terrorist, took out the hydraulics on the plane, making the plane impossible to land. And Corey being the nerd, how convenient, him being the nerd, he's told to fix the hydraulics. I don't know how he's able to just do that, but fair enough, he's able to do that. And then by rerouting the hydraulics, in the guy from Quantum Leap, he comes in as a hologram, and he teaches Ben how to land the plane. And obviously it doesn't go smoothly, but any landing you can walk away from, Bossman, is a good one. And
Absolutely.
because he's able to land the plane safely, he's able to leap.
Cool.
And once again, we get to see what Ben has done, and the I won't say the consequences, but the ripple effect of him not making the plane crash, but actually saving it. You know, Corey goes on to be a distinguished flight engineer. I think Molly and the person he was inhabiting have decent careers as well. I think the person Ben's inhabiting gets a visitation to the White House and all of that. So
She
once
does.
again, everyone is hunky dory.
Mhm.
But the Quantum Leap team don't know where Ben has leapt this time. Usually, they always know where he's leapt, but this time, on their systems, they have no idea. But we see where Ben's leapt, and I think he might have leapt into his body, I believe, and
Yeah, because
he could.
yeah, because Ian goes, you're in the future, you're here in the future, Ben, or something like that, or and he's like speaking with a really harsh voice and stuff like that. I was just like, actually, it's a very sorry. Yes, speaking with a really harsh voice. You're like, oh my god, what's going on here? And I think this is the spot they've wanted to reach. That
Or
this is
maybe,
the because this is the future that kind of Ben needs to avert. So like, maybe this is
well,
happening. Maybe this is a reflect from this diet. This is just my
you're
thought.
breaking up quite a lot, boss. But no offense, mate. But uh, he does end up. It's funny in a way because he's in the future and it looks very apocalyptic. Um, there is snow and he's in Los Angeles. So you hear the words, it was a nuclear winter from somebody in the background. Before we have that revelation, Ben's also wearing these rags, like he's wearing these robes, but they look like rags because he's obviously in the future and it's apocalyptic. But when he finally comes across the person who mentioned that it was a nuclear winter, we see it's a very aged Ian, and Ian has been waiting for Ben for a long time. And we also realize this is Quantum Leap headquarters because we do see um, an image of one of the hard drives, so to speak, which apparently is Ziggy. So that's so we know that too. No Martinez. Martinez, in my opinion, has to show up in this episode in some form or in some form or another. I don't know exactly what what occurs from all of that, but nevertheless, um, this is the final episode now. I don't feel this is the end of the leaping, but I
Mhm.
do feel that we might get some sort of resolution regarding Ben having to come to the future and meet future Ian. All of this, I don't really know, like, like that. It still hasn't made sense really what the fuck is going on. You know, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. You know, we know that he's going to a particular timeline. I remember very early on in this season, you know, Ian showed us like some sort of star chart, so to speak, and it was showing where Ben could be ending up. And this is now his destination. But why? You know, he said I know he was supposed to save Addison, but it's still like I mean, basically, I don't know I don't know the length of episode 18. I don't know how long it's going to be. Yeah,
Mhm.
it might be a long it might be a long episode, but
Well, as I
it
said,
needs.
well, as I said a minute ago, I think it could be that Anderson is basically the ripple effect that causes this nuclear problem to happen. Would you think?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. You know, Addison, obviously, her part, I mean, her life has a part to play because Ben is trying to save her. From what I don't know, we are
Mhm.
way ahead in the future. I mean, it could be maybe 20 years in the future by the looks of things. You know, Ian looks considerably older, maybe about a good 10, 20 years older.
Mhm.
Is he going I don't think Ben I think what it is that I think Ben is going to end up having to stop the catastrophe that has caused this nuclear winter, which means that he will end up keep leaping. we have a person called Walk On who's got something to tell us here. Martinez probably leaps into Ben in the future, confusing Addison, not knowing it's Martinez, and maybe Ben is another person in the team. Aha. Yeah, that is a good fit. That is a good theory. I mean, I'm going to kind of stick with my particular. I mean, in my opinion, personally, I think Ben is not going to stay in that timeline for too long. He's going to go back, and he might take over Martinez, or he might take over somebody else within Quantum Leap, maybe Ian, and stop this nuclear winter from happening. Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, the thing is that the thing is we don't know what Martinez is doing, we don't know what Ben's doing, and this could resolve a lot of the issues. If not, if it doesn't resolve them, at least we know what's going on. Or we do now.
Yeah, sorry, Bossman. You're breaking up so badly, mate. You're a full on robot, dude. But I kind of get what you're saying, mate.
Sorry, I'm getting a bit frustrated now. It's not your fault. It's that I swear the computer was fine. Was fine a bit.
Do you share a flat with other people?
Yes.
Then are they all using the same router?
The housemate does, yeah. He uses
so there's a good chart that a lot of the bandwidth is taken up by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, but yeah. So we know that we know obviously he's in the future. We know he has to somehow resolve that particular incident from happening. I don't know how he's going to leap again. Yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. I do think that now he's already met Ian, because luckily Ian was the person that guided him down on the plane. He remembers Ian perfectly, so I think Ian will be his Addison. Ben stops Ben. Somehow Martinez leaps into the present, tries to kill President Addison. Only somehow Dennis from her own stolen dad parts leaps in and chases Martinez back to the future. Why does Martinez want to kill Addison?
Might find out next episode.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be resolved. I don't know if they can resolve that in 45 minutes. You know, some things might have to be taken into season 2, but I do feel that after 18 episodes of stringing this along with a present day storyline, you know, it's a bit like fucking Assassin's Creed in that sense. You know, having a present day storyline, you know, and stringing this along. I need to know.
This story does feel a little bit like Assassin's Creed, doesn't it?
Yeah, in that sense, yeah. And I've always liked the Assassin's Creed present day storyline. Not recently.
Me too.
You know, I thought even though Assassin's Creed 4 was the best Assassin's Creed game, I thought the present day storyline was a fucking joke. But nevertheless, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be explained here, and I'm trying to make sense of it all, because sometimes you were getting tidbits here and there. Like Martinez, when he introduced himself, that was a big fucking deal in that Western episode. And then I don't think we really saw him for a while. This could be like Back to the Future 2, Alternative 2023 also. Yeah, it is, and it isn't. Like, it is and it isn't, because that is going to be the 2023. The Alternative 2023 is theoretically stopping the winter apocalypse from happening, the nuclear winter happening, and then that becomes the Alternative 2023. So it's hard to say what side Martinez is fighting on. I mean, he might be thinking he's doing the right thing himself.
Mm-hmm.
So why is he killing? Why does he want to kill Addison? I think. Look, I just assume that Martinez wants to kill Addison. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Addison might die through other means. If that's the case,
as he's trying to get something else as he gets to the waste thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole. I mean, Edison might try to leap, and that also ends up killing her. But how does Ben know that Edison dies? You know what I mean?
Ian told him.
Like,
Ian told him.
Ian, yeah, Ian from the future.
Yeah.
Ian came back in time, told Ben what was going to happen. Okay, and then we got Martinez still in the past. Maybe they confront him in the past. Well, there is that effect, isn't it? The Martinez from the past hasn't got a fucking Scooby Doo. Why people like Magic and Janice visited him earlier. I find it weird how he ends up on the Quantum Leap program eventually. Um,
But he doesn't, though. He
yeah.
ends up in a different program.
Sorry.
He ends up in a different program.
Yeah, but that's him from the future. And how are people if Ziggy if there's a nuclear winter? I mean, if people are like, are they leaping before the nuclear winter? Are they leaping after the nuclear winter? You know, do they need Ziggy to do it? Like, and Ziggy as well, like Ziggy being the mole, like that needs to be resolved as well. Isn't it, my darling? Isn't it, my big fat girl? Yeah, Ziggy needs to be resolved as well, and and that hasn't been resolved either. So there's so much shit that needs to be explained, and I'm just totally baffled by it all personally. You know, this I'll give this series a lot of credit, yeah, because you know the the Sam Beckett version of Quantum Leap was kind of straightforward. You know, Dr. Sam Beckett goes into the Quantum Leap accelerator, and then boom, next thing you know, he's jumping from body to body, trying to figure out how to resolve issues to so he can to the next leap could be the leap home. Now there were some other issues. There were some other things. I think we had one episode where him and Al swapped places, and we had some episodes obviously with the evil quantum leapers as well. We've mixed it up a little bit too, but overall it kept it kind of straightforward. This season, this first season, the present day's timeline has played a massive part in the show.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
is
I wasn't too sure about that at this, but I kind of like the present day storyline as well as the places that goes to get the storyline. Like, I mean, the thing is that it deals with minority issues, but it doesn't do it in a preachy way. Does that make sense?
well, I mean, it's just doing it in a way that, I mean, as somebody who's a minority myself, it like look, I always thought the original Quantum Leap dealt
It's
with
the same
racial
thing. Yeah,
issues. Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
mean,
just Dave's it's also
there was
developed.
episodes about racism and like backwater America for black people and the Ku Klux Klan. You know, there was an
There's
episode
also
where
episodes about disabilities and stuff like that. It was
yeah,
it's also
disabilities.
but the with like trans rights, flaming minority groups, like for example, people from India and stuff like that. I thought it they were very well done. It felt like tokenism. It felt like actual dealing with those issues. Yeah.
Uh,
So
well, but they've also like changed the like the rules of the game. Like Sam Beckett, he could be an amputee, he could still stand up. Sam Beckett could be a woman, he could still kick ass. You know, now in this Ben Sung, he only has the attributes of the people he inhabits. So if he's excuse me, if he's in like a 90-pound woman like he was in this episode, he can't physically take on a mercenary, which is why he had to do that trick with the insulin. You know, so they've changed the rules. But I do remember that one episode of Quantum Leap with Sam Beckett. He did play an amputee and he stood up, and you just see him floating in the air, and he's got no legs. You know what I mean? But that's the visualization of the person who sees Sam, because he's obviously inhabiting an amputee's body. We see Sam Beckett for Sam Beckett with legs, you know. So at the same time he played the blind man. You know, if Ben Sung was in the blind man, Ben Sung would theoretically, with as he takes on the attributes of the people he's inhabiting, he would theoretically be blind himself.
Yeah.
I guess, but Sam
I
Beckett wasn't a blind man, and he
remember,
wasn't.
I remember when he was in one episode where he was playing like a blind pianist, and yeah, like he had to be blind. It's like
Ben also got confidence issues now due to Martinez. Yeah. What I liked about this season as well, and we are kind of talking about the season in general, is the amount of like actors. God damn it, girl! You leave my face alone. Uh, the amount of actors um, that I recognize from yesterday. Brandon Roof, for instance, who was in an earlier episode. Um, we also saw the girl who plays I forgot the name of the character she plays, but she was in Daredevil. Do you remember
yeah,
her?
Karen.
I think so. God damn it! I feel sorry for people called Karen nowadays. Yeah.
Yes, but that's not a real name. Her real name's like something like that. It doesn't like that. But yeah, she plays Karen from Daredevil. Yeah.
And there's a few other actors I've seen in certain episodes where I think to myself, yeah, I recognize you. I know you're from that. I know you're from that. I know you're from that. You know. So sorry, darling. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So yeah. Ben's also got his confidence issues due to Martinez. What do you mean by that, dude? I mean because because Ben, you got stabbed. You mean?
Because that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about before, that he has like trust issues that's getting that's good from last episode. Something I liked.
Yeah, I mean, we only got it in. I mean, like, unfortunately, that happened to like the previous episode to this one, and which led into this one. So, like, we didn't really see that much, but Ben would recognize. I mean, Martinez could be anybody, but Ben would see Martinez as Martinez and not as somebody else. So, Ben shouldn't worry Martinez is inhabiting a body, because whoever Martinez inhabits, Ben will see that person straight away. You know, so yeah. I think it's time we mark this episode, mate. It's been good fun talking about it, but we can't stretch it out any longer. Whilst you're into, I'll say, got another comment here from Walk On. We also get that the lady in the early episode who wants her son saved, which could come back and bother the team, the one who was looking for Ben. God damn it! I got some strawberry on my face. I've got these strawberries here, and I'm feeding them to my birds. And some of it landed on my face. I was a bit worried it was bird shit, but no, it was strawberry. Thank God. We also got that lady in the early episode who wants her son saved. What episode was that? Oh, Bossman, mate, your connection is so bad today. Yeah, his connection is terrible today. What episode was that? Remind me, please, Walk On. I need to get a reminder. In the meantime, whilst you remind me. Okay. Do you remember that episode, Gary?
I unfortunately don't.
There's a lot of people who want their sons saved, to tell you the truth. Magic had a scare. Magic had her scare with her past. By the way, where the fuck was Magic had a scare? Oh yeah. The transgendered lady, I think. Yeah. And she was the one who saw Ian, an older Ian, when she drew a picture of him. Oh, the government lady. Yeah, I remember that as well. I remember her. But she was able to keep. Yeah, she was able. Yeah, Gary. There's another Gary here. The Congresswoman. Yeah, I do recall. I remember that. Like, but they kind of grifted her. They kind of lied to her a little bit, because they said that because it was her brother that died in a car crash, and I think it was due to her, because she was drink driving or some shit like that. But she kind of got away with it. but they said to
Mhm.
her that we can save his life, but theoretically they can, but at the same time theoretically they can't because they don't choose where Ben jumps into. He just jumps into a body, So yeah, she interviewed everyone. I remember that episode. It was a good episode. I mean, they're all pretty good episodes.
Oh yeah, I
So
remember that episode.
they made a big deal about her. I was wondering if that could tie into something we forgot about. It would be the thing is like with these particular characters, they need to be more than one and done episodes, or they could easily be get lost in the mix. When you've got eventually there'll be 18 episodes. When you've got that 18th episode come around, like she might be for, and if they give us a previously on Quantum Leap to remind us that here we go back in episode 7, which you might have forgotten about because it was like 2 months ago.
Mhm.
Like so and so was in this episode and she had a part to play, and now we need you to remind you about her because she's going to be in this finale. And now we've already spoiled the fact that she's in this finale because we reminded you about her. Magic's BS Ed, yeah, to say Ben, because yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. Um, it's funny in the way that they created this whole division to save Ben. Like how? I mean, like, how are people getting paid? Like this is whole thing
Government
just to
funded, my
save
friend.
Ben.
Government funded.
Oh, you're frozen
Government
again, Gary.
funding is government funded. It's
Oh,
government funded.
Gary, I'm really sorry, mate. I can't make it. I can't make you out, dude. Um, but yeah, it's government funded. I think that's what you're trying to say.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's government funded. Yeah, um, yeah, for sure. But the moment I was always thinking to myself, the moment Ben can't, like for argument's sake, let's Ben fails a particular leap, and he doesn't conclude the situation properly, then what? Everything's fucked. He can never leap again. I mean, they're lucky that he keeps on leaping and all of that. So, but okay, so I'd like to know how they can still monitor Sam if New Mexico is shut down. New Mexico monitor Sam. Oh, you mean Sam Beckett?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'll give you my theory on Sam Beckett. By the way, Sam Beckett, he was told by that bartender, who some people say is God, but he was told by that bartender that you could have gone home whenever you wanted. And then when we finally see Sam leap again, and we don't see where he ends up, but we just get credits saying that Sam never returned home. That for me was because Sam didn't want to return home. He knew what he was doing was helping people. And so he decided to dedicate the rest of his life to time traveling and righting the wrongs that have happened in those times and saving people because, that's what he wanted to do. And that's what he ended up doing. And that's what I believe happened to Sam Beckett. A lot of people didn't like the ending that he never returned home, but I thought that was a gutsy ending. I really did. I thought that was a gutsy ending.
Very
You
good
know,
to see it.
will we see Sam Beckett in next week's episode?
I
I
hope
don't
so.
think so.
I hope so, because the thing is that because that could be the whole arc of that season is bringing Sam home.
I I think there's so many things that they have to resolve and explain and make sense of, and stuff that I've probably totally forgotten about. That to throw Sam Beckett in the mix, I personally think if they are doing a season 2, I think Sam Beckett would be much better as like he'll be like the Luke Skywalker moment in Mandalorian. Like save it for next season. Let this season stand on its own 2 legs, and then give us a Sam Beckett moment next season.
Okay.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. I think Sam Beckett in this season, even though I probably would mark out for it if we did see him, I think it'll be one thing too many. And I think this season has done well enough to remember who Sam Beckett was without relying on Scott Bakula to come back. That is probably going to be the true end if he comes back or not. Yeah. My only thing is the only thing problem with my theory is that Sam only ever knew what he had to do because he always had Al to inform him. So if he was time traveling without Al, then how would he know what he needs to do? That was my only issue regarding that. But he had to be doing something if he was time traveling if he never returned home. But yeah, okay, I think it's time we kind of babbled on a lot about this. I think it's time we mark this episode, mate. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
Hey, I
8 out
thought
of
it was
10.
really good. It's a really good mystery episode. I really liked it. I thought it leaned too heavily on the Bundy stuff on the play stuff. What I liked. But I was intrigued enough that I didn't know who did it until it was resolved. I wish there was more hints on who did it, but it was well enough that you kind of could see it coming. So well done. That's what a good mystery plot should be. We're gonna give it some.
I'm gonna give it an 8 and out of 10 as well. I thought this episode, like a lot of Quantum Leap episodes, are really good. Um, I I just there's something which makes these sort of mysteries on a plane type episode, where you're in the skies and all of that. You could die any minute, all these sort of things. It makes it kind of fascinating. And I very much like the episode for that. I like the resolution to the episode as well. Um it was a good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought they would do something where do you remember back in the original series, if somebody had the same brain pattern or brain waves as Sam Beckett, they could see the hologram.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought they might do something like this with it in this season,
yeah, because it
but
was
they did.
because I think it was people with, like, for example, who had hearing problems could see it.
Animals
Animals
can
could see it.
animals can see it, but if you had the same brain pattern as Sam,
Yeah.
you could see it. I mean, that's the thing. Anyway, that makes me wonder if Martinez has a hologram. It was a solid episode. I love the end. What are you gonna give it, by the way? Walk on at YCLB. Walk. I'm just gonna call
A
you.
Thai club. I don't know.
Ben could have an episode if he failed for the first time and still leaps. I think you can still leap if you failed, if I recall. Well, there was that episode where where Sam leaps into the body of Lee Harvey Oswald,
I remember that.
and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way you can resolve this. You can't stop Lee Harvey Oswald from
No,
killing
but
the president.
I thought those were really well done, because the thing is that it still shows that, like, even being the good person he had was kind of taken over a little bit the personality of Lee Harvey Oswald, as the things we know
Yeah,
about Lee Harvey Oswald.
yeah. I'll be honest with you. Like the fact that he was becoming Lee Harvey Oswald was a bit. I thought that was a bit stupid. You know what I mean? I didn't like that at all. I thought I like why is he becoming this person? He's never become anybody else. Why is he becoming this fucking person? I always thought that was a stupid
He's one
thing.
of the
But
most famous, like, assassins in the history of the universe.
yeah, but it doesn't explain why he's taking over his personality. He's become a Ku Klux Klan member. I remember, well, why didn't he take over that guy's personality? That's just as evil. Arguably more evil. You know what I mean? Um,
Look at Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald killed somebody. Yeah, and he killed the president of the United States.
Beat a lot of
But
other
that,
things as well.
I mean, look. Whether you kill the president of the United States or you kill a homeless man, you're still a murderer. Yeah. But being a white supremacist or being a racist is also a very evil thing to be, and in its own way, in its own unique way. And and Sam never took over that personality. I just thought it was stupid. Not everything in Quantum Leap is good. There are stupid moments, and that was one of the stupid moments, in my opinion. And then before he had the chance to not kill the president, he leaps into the fucking body of a Secret Service member because he ends up saving um, Kennedy's wife, but she never died anyway. So
But that's
you're
the
not
whole thing.
changing history. You're not changing history. What the fuck?
Yeah, but the
Like,
thing is
yeah,
yeah, but the thing is, I think the history that he came from, Jackie Onassis was killed, or Jackie, whatever his original, Kennedy was originally killed in that particular reality. So he changed it. That's the whole point of it. Well,
really.
I mean, there was stupid elements, and I will agree with you. Like the whole thing of like him like living in different parts of the Harvey Oswald's life. Why did he do that? When he never did it to anybody else. I personally would just rather like maybe he came in a particular part of like Harvey Oswald's life like, earlier in his life before he became like a Russian spy or whatever it was.
Yeah, I forgot why I brought up Lee Harvey Oswald actually, but there was a reason behind it. It slipped my mind now, but nevertheless, uh, yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let me just give you my mark. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I bet we will get a similar episode with Ben doing a 911. Well, there could be like a 911 episode. I think that would be worthy of I think that'd be worthy of Quantum Leap if they can do an episode on 9/11 of failing to leap. Yeah, only failing only for a short period because eventually he will have to leap. But I would love an episode of 9/11. That would be great. You know, I could. Yeah.
So I mean, because I think that we're coming up to the show ending. So, what has been your thoughts on the show so far? What's the or
Well,
ending episode? Or we're going to do that next week?
no, I mean, I'll give you my thoughts on the season so far. I think the show is brilliant. Now, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think a lot of people are shitting on it because you get all those dickheads who go on about stuff being woke and all of that, which is just basically saying how dare you put a man who's not white in as the lead. You know what I mean? Which is basically what they did there because for some reason that's an issue for them when it shouldn't be.
Idiots.
So yeah, they're idiots. They're absolute idiots. And this like this whole show kind of like on my side of like social issues. This show definitely is on my side of those things, but at the same time, it does honor other elements too. Like you have Addison, who's a war hero. You have Magic, who's a war hero. Janice, who's a war hero. You have episodes that pay tribute to the troops, like the episode with Brandon Roof and all of that. So it's not like it's totally shitting on ideologies and stuff like that. Even in this episode, when Ben was talking to the pilot and the police officer, calling them patriots, all of these sort of things. So it is trying to balance that line, to keep to keep the more bigoted people happy when it comes to those particular issues, but at the same time acknowledging bigotry with issues on racism, issues on transgenderism, and things like that. Which I'm very happy that they're going there. Considering where the world is going at times with our politicians, being so being so bigoted and picking on the vulnerable, like the transgendered, and making them the bogey person for everyone to hate on. I'm very happy that shows like Quantum Leap are putting a positive spin on these things
I agree.
because they're not that. Um, Raymond did a good job in his role, and there's a lot of diversity. And I like the current time point of view as well. Um, while I leap, I think he might be a typo there, but yeah, fair enough. I get what you're saying. Like some people have an issue with diversity. Like the world is look at me, look at me. Yeah, I mean, me and Bossman, me and Gary, we're talking. We're doing this show together, and I'm an element of that. Just doing this show as well. You know, yeah, hit that like button. You're damn right. Hit that fucking like button.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
me and Zam have differences between us. Like he's an atheist, I'm a Christian. He's from a different ethnicity than I am. I'm
I'm
from
from London. You're from Manchester. I used to be a
yeah,
Muslim. You're still a Christian.
yeah,
I mean, all
and
of these
also,
things.
I have a
You're
little
straight.
bit,
You're straight. I'm bisexual. You know what I
and
mean? So yeah, howdy, cousin Cheeto. Diversity is for real. Yeah, I mean, diversity is definitely there. Some people don't want to acknowledge it. They think somehow by acknowledging other people who are not straight cis white males, that all of a sudden um, you're being woke, and that's not the case. That's just acknowledging life. I'm an element of that, you know. So I love this show. I genuinely do. It portrays the world as it's supposed to be. You know, you got and and the actor Raymond who plays Ben Song, he's so endearing. Like, you know, you want this. You know, he's a really good lead character. I love seeing him do what he's doing. You know, you're rooting for this guy. There's nothing about him that makes you have a disdain for him. He's fantastic. Yeah, we got the legendary Ghostbuster himself, Ernie Hudson, Ernie Hudson, Ernie Hudson as well. Like, you can't go wrong.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
agree.
you got a transgender character in Ian as well, which is good to see too. I mean, I like that little joke by Ian by saying how Ben looks good in a dress. You know, all of these sort of things, but stuff like that pisses off a lot of people in today's society for some reason. They just get, you know, I mean,
It's because people don't like change. That's what it is.
yeah, but look, let's just be honest. Let's be honest. A lot of these guys, you know, when you see like people like your Alex Joneses and your Nick Fuenteses and stuff like that who hate on, even Matt Walsh who hate on the transgendered and stuff like that. You know, those they motherfuckers are bashing their bishops to fucking transgender porn when you know when nobody's watching them back, you know, bashing transgender people for existing, because Alex Jones has been caught out. There's a tab of his showing transgender porn. Same with Nick Fuentes. You know, the way fucking Matt Walsh goes on about transgender people hating them as much as he does, he obviously fucking wanks off the fucking tranny porn as well. Um,
That's about television for you folks. But the thing is for me is that the original series was very good. I think we did touch this before of talking about minority issues, and the show and this particular show is carried on that legacy. In talking about minority issues and talking about trans things. I wish you would talk about disabilities again because as somebody with a disability, there's not a lot of 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 positive what's the word representation of us out there. And and again, this is something maybe you disagree with me, Zam, but but when you usually see somebody with um, disabilities in a show, it's usually they use it like they're slow to talk or they're stupid or they need to be kidded or cutted around. It's like, no, that's not how actual disabilities work. It's like sorry, I'm going on about it a little bit. It's just something that I'm very passionate about.
no, you're totally fine. Look, there were 5 seasons of the original Quantum Leap, and they did have episodes with people with physical disabilities as well as mental disabilities.
Yes.
Like you had the episode where Sam
You put-
inhabited the body of somebody who had Down syndrome,
Yeah, I remember that.
and and I would just love to see what it must look like for the person who sees Sam as a Down syndrome person talking to him like a regular dude, because um, Down syndrome people have a unique way of expressing themselves and talking physically. So when you're hearing then Sam inhabit that body and they're seeing that person still have Down syndrome, it's like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, I would love to see that. But there's still an opportunity for people like Ben to inhabit people like that in future seasons. You might, I mean, you know, not everything can be done in one season. Maybe
I
that
don't,
will
I
happen
don't,
that
I
next
don't,
season.
I don't. But
And
I'm just saying, I'm just saying what I would personally like to see.
but not just that. Like, do you remember the episode where they played those young kids who ran away from that school?
Yeah.
4 of them. I think the person Ben was inhabiting was kind of on the spectrum. You know what I mean? He might have
Possibly.
been like an aspect, you know. So, but anyway, hopefully Scott Bakula will give it a chance. I mean, Scott Bakula will give it a chance. He wants to be involved in this. I think it's from what I've been hearing is that the people who are making this have not really necessarily reached out to him, which is a shame, really. Raymond can still
Well,
be the lead, and Sam could be. No. I don't want Scott Bakula to be in this full time. Like he needs to be cameo. This is Sam. This is sorry, not Sam. This is Ben Sung's story. This is his journey, and I just want I just want Sam's. If people want that resolution with Sam, we give it to him, but then we move on and we stick with Ben because Sam. This is not Sam's story. Cheers, fellas. Welcome back, Daniel Vance. How you doing?
hey, Vance, how you doing? But yeah, I don't know. Me
Oh,
personally, if we are gonna have Scott Bakula, I'd rather just be like a recurring guest star where he could kind of be like a wise person who kind of like says or does the right thing for Ben at the right time. But I agree with you. I don't want him to be there all the time because I think it would take away the specialness of him. You know what I mean? So
I agree. Ben could stop a school shooting. There are tons of mate. Ben would be jumping into school shooting after school shooting
who
for
did
the
Ben
rest of his
to
fucking life.
himself?
Yeah. Who did Ben jump into?
Himself.
Himself. Yeah, I think that's the case. I would like
The
to
way
see
the way
Ben
the,
have a
the way
look.
that Ian looks at him.
But we were saying earlier on, Daniel, that we don't think Ben's going to be in that timeline for too long. If he had jumped into the future and there is a nuclear winter, I think he will somehow, with the help of future Ian, he will leap back into the past to stop that event from happening, and that'll be how the season ends. And maybe that saves Addison as well, because he was supposed to save Addison as well. So he's
Yeah.
basically trying to stop an event in the. I think the whole point of his leaping was to stop an event that will eventually happen in the future from happening. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so is Martinez trying to make it happen? Is he trying to make nuclear winter?
I don't
Or
know.
why
I
would
don't.
they do that?
Martinez is still a mystery, to tell you the truth. Um, and I'm here or there because remember, like those evil leapers we had in the original series with Sam
Yeah.
Beckett. Like I thought Martinez could be one of those, but he's not, because he helped save that woman from escaping that mental asylum. So that but he did try to, but he purposely stabbed Ben because Ben, he's got a mission to do and stuff like that. So his issue's more with Ben than whatever else they're doing. But yeah, like just going back to the school shootings, yeah, there's a lot of them. My goodness. Um, yeah,
I
I think
mean,
there's like there's
it could be
certain.
like
I think
somebody Columbine or very famous for, you know what I mean? So like, you
well,
don't.
look, there's certain things in today's in the last say 30 years of history that Ben could jump into. There's like elements of the Gulf War where you could
Mhm.
save a particular person from dying in that. Obviously, he could save people from in 9/11. He can't save everyone. Obviously, I don't expect him to stop the planes. That's impossible for him to do. But people within the building, within the Twin Towers, he could save them. I think after 22 years of that particular tragedy now it's happened. I think it's okay to make to document it in various ways now. Enough time has passed, in my opinion, to document it. So we have that. I would like to see Ben also go to other countries, because I do think he's, apart from, yeah, I know he's been in space, which was a great episode, but I do feel that everywhere he's been has been America. I know he was on the plane coming back from London, but he was going to New York. It would be nice to see Ben in other countries as well.
Well, like
That
China and
would,
stuff like that. But I can't remember, apart from Vietnam, I can't remember Sam being in other countries. I'm trying to remember which ones.
I can't remember that either, but
It was
that's
in
the thing.
Vietnam. It was definitely Vietnam. It was definitely Vietnam.
I wonder if this video theory will hold up at the end.
Possibly.
There's a possibility. Um,
But
or,
as I said, me personally, I had a. I'm going to be truthfully honest with you. I had a really negative attitude to this series because the original series holds a special place in my heart. Because I used to watch it all the time when I was growing up and stuff like that. And I watched it with my first girlfriend, and I did. It has a very special place in my heart. So I was a bit, but this series has knocked it out of the park. I thought it's done a lot of things I'm not going to say better, but he has a lot more elements to it. I think that the original series was good for what it was, and series is good for what it is. So I think that
For me, I was very happy that they were going back to the Quantum Leap well because the show was so great. I would love to see another take on it. I genuinely thought this was a reboot, but no, it ended up being a sequel series. And what it has, like the original series has, is the heart. You have a guy who's the lead of this show who genuinely cares. You know, he's not just there to leap. He genuinely cares for the people that he's saving, and that's the like the
essence
ethos of the essence of Quantum Leap.
it is. Yeah.
And I like it. Like for instance, I was a big fan of Sliders. Only the first season. I thought the seasons after that, the show got stupider and stupider. And when you got rid of and killed off most of your main cast, and you're now with a bunch of people you don't give a fuck about because they're not the people who started off this saga, then the show was always going to fail. But I would love them to take another crack. And this is a reboot, by the way, no sequel shit. I would love them to reboot and have another crack at Sliders because Sliders, in my opinion, is bloody awesome, and it needs to be done the way John Rhys Davis, wanted it to be because he had his own version of it, and that's why they killed his character off, by the way, because he was clashing with the filmmakers, the movie makers, because they wanted it their bubblegum stupid way, whilst he had a more serious take on it. And yeah, we'll see if they ever do that. But there's a whole bunch of series. I would love them to do. Yeah, look. He might have had other reasons. Look, the point is, he had other reasons why he wanted to jump in the first place. Same with Sam Beckett. But once he's in those scenarios, he genuinely cares for the people that he's trying to save. You know, he had
And
like
plus,
some predominant.
plus the
Yeah,
thing is that when he's in these scenarios, he doesn't have the same thing as Sam. Like Sam would get off with the occasional woman in those particular things, whereas like Ben can't because Ben's got Anderson and Anderson's literally there watching him do whatever he's doing, and that kind of.
but Ben, like his whole, him and Addison, like Ben already remembered very early on that Addison was his partner. So like, yeah, and the fact I like the different dynamic, the fact that they can see each other but they can't touch each other. That's a really great dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To
because like the
have.
thing is that there's a bit where like she goes to grab him to say like to hold him when he's having like an emotional moment. She goes to grab him, and she's like, and you can literally see in her face. I mean, the thing is, the actress in this, and I thought the first couple of episodes she wasn't as solid, but then there's some other episodes where like she's going to grab him, can't. You can see in her face there's like literal frustration, but she doesn't voice
her
it.
her acting is okay. I'll be honest with you. Like there's a moment where when Ben was dying last week, and she was screaming in agony, and I wasn't buying it.
I
I
wasn't
really
buying it either.
wasn't. You know what I mean? So, but luckily, her role is. Her role is kind of straightforward, so she's not dead. Also that time where we had the episode where Ben was in the elevator with five different people, and
Oh,
he
I remember
jumped in
that.
between the bodies. And the first time Ben died in that nuclear accident, she was all distraught because she thought Ben was genuinely dead. But no, he ended up resetting, and he had another body to jump into. Well, yeah, that her acting there when she was distraught initially wasn't that great either. So yeah, but
No, but I'm talking.
regarding
I'm
Ben,
talking about. I'm talking about the small moments, like the moment that I was talking about where she goes to grab him and you can see legit frustration on her face that she can't hold him and stuff like that. And but I do think
yeah,
that the
yeah,
main
yeah.
lead. I think the main lead is great. I think the main lead actor is a great actor. So
This,
um,
this show is a great representation.
and
It's
Eddie
only got
Hudson's
like
so good as well.
I want to quickly just check on the on Rotten Tomatoes because um let's quickly check. Wow, 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 wow.
Why
Let's
was it
not say.
say?
Let me show you.
Let's a look.
This is weird in a way because never. I I'm kind of sorry. Usually, if I like something, it's kind of popular all the way around. But this time around, it's not the case.
Is it unpopular?
It's middle of the road, so
Yeah.
it's a way it's way above average. And
Mhm.
when I say way above, that's maybe it's reasonably above
Just
average.
about.
Regarding the audience score, but it's only
Mhm.
55, which gives it a rotten tomato. But I'm having a great time with this show.
Me too.
I'm having a great time with this show. So I'm kind of surprised how unpopular it is, or how it's not popular enough to be more precise. Um, let's have a quick look at some of the comments here. Any reviews? Any reviews? No, no reviews at all. Um, and there's no reviews at all, which is crazy. So there you go. But yeah, all right. So I think we've been on here for an hour. We kind of prolonged our stay. Great episode. We've both been giving it 8 out of 10. It's going to be the final episode next week. It's such a shame that the show's coming to an end. You know, it's been a long, long journey. 18 episodes in the end by the time we review next week's episode. And there have been some breaks as well. This we started watching this in September last year. It's crazy.
Bloody hell.
It's been with the intervals and the breaks. You know, there's been we've been over 6 months of watching this shit.
Mhm.
Incredible. So anyway, tomorrow we come to the end. In a way, I'm looking forward to the break. And yeah, some massive feedback by the way. Um, looking forward to the break. But yeah, all good things come to an end. It's been a long road getting from there to here. Was that a Scott Bakula prayer? You damn right it was. You know, and if people know about what Daniel Vance has said, then fair enough. Maybe I'll explain. You know, this is the title. What he's saying is basically the title song for the show Enterprise. We also start Scott Bakula, and if I had to explain that to you, shame on you for not understanding. But nevertheless, yeah, 18 episodes, man. Jesus Christ, they don't make shows like this. This is like fucking Daredevil. Daredevil's going to be 18 episodes.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Daredevil's going to be 18
that's
fucking
one show that
episodes.
I do have trepidations about.
Yeah, I'm worried about
Um,
that too.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this now, and I'm going to say there is no physical way, there's no possible way it is worse than Gotham Knights. There is no way. There's no way that could be
Well,
possible.
it's going to be Disney, and we've already seen.
No, it can't. It's not possible.
Look, we've already seen what they've done with Kingpin. You know, and he was out of all
You
the
didn't see.
Netflix characters. We saw what we've done with King. I haven't seen Gotham Knights. And I won't waste my time with that. I know it's shit just by the trailers, but we've already seen what they've done with Kingpin. They definitely made Daredevil a lot more jollier. Yeah, Armor Wars is a movie now. We're looking forward to that too. I'm hoping Rhodey will go after White Vision. That's what I'm hoping will happen.
Mm.
That should be the case. Rhodey versus White Vision, and because Vision used to be Jarvis, hopefully, if there's an element of Jarvis still in that body, then Rhodey and Pepper are probably the two people who Jarvis could still remember when he was just AI. So I'm hoping that will be anyway. Nevertheless, that looks like fun too.
Mhm.
Um, and, and plus it'll be like another Iron Man movie, and Ultron's being
Yeah.
brought back. Yeah, yes, that's pretty cool. I think they realize they have to go back to some of the old. Oh, Spader's confirmed. Fantastic. You know, so yeah.
What's made him as good as Ultron, in my opinion.
Oh look, Age of Ultron only got good in my opinion after other movies. It's weird in the way. Like, Age of Ultron. When I first saw Age of Ultron, well, it's all right. There's nothing special about it. But then the films that came after Age of Ultron, made in a way like Black Panther because they mentioned Wakanda and yeah, Ulysses Claw and Vibranium, and then obviously Civil War, which mentioned the Sokovia Accords, which is what happened. Liv Tyler, God, I hope she still looks great. I hope she looks good.
She looks like Liv Tyler. That's what she looks like.
Because Liv Tyler, in my opinion, if you're going to bring back Liv Tyler, then you got to bring back the Hulk. She's going to be playing Betty Ross. Is it Betty Ross?
Yes.
Betsy Ross or something like that. Fucking hell. So, yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. And maybe Harrison Ford will be playing Red Hulk in that. It should be weird because maybe our Hulk, Professor Hulk, will be off planet. But yeah, God, there's so much to just anyway. Listen, we're going to be talking. Bring up all of this stuff on Friday, Daniel Vance, when we do our end of the week stuff, because we're going to be talking a lot about Jonathan Majors on Friday as well. I don't know much, and I'll be honest with you, I'm semi following the story. I heard what I do know is he got arrested, then he got vindicated, and then yet he still got charged. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, to tell you the truth. I'm hoping that our boy Ginger Greek, who will be researching this, he will he'll explain that in more detail. I'm going.
It's also WrestleMania this weekend as well.
Yep, I'm also going to be basically talking about all the school shootings this Friday. I'll be talking about like another school shooting happened, and this time the person who done the shooting was a transgendered person, and now the right wing are up in arms about school shootings. They never gave a fuck when it was one after the other. White cis male Trump supporter doing all the shooting. Now fucking transgendered person is doing it. They finally give a fuck. Personally, the problem is not necessarily whether it be a transgender person or a fucking a Trump supporter. The point is that in that fucking country called America, the access to guns is just so incredibly easy that you're constantly having kids being slaughtered in schools. And whilst the Republican Party within America wants to go on about protecting kids, whether it be from abortions or from fucking drag queens, they're not protecting kids from fucking AR-15s. And anyway, tomorrow we're going to be talking about Mandalorian. Thursday we're talking about Star Trek. And Friday we're doing our big talk. And Saturday and Sunday, hopefully, we can get some boys to do WrestleMania. So yeah, lots
I might do
to.
Saturday. I might do Saturday if you're lucky.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So to everyone out there in YouTube land, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.